Hello everyone and welcome back to Pokemon Illustrated. Today we're going to talk about the work of Tomokazu Komiya and what he's done for the Pokemon trading card game. His artwork is influenced by a style called primitivism, which is influenced by the natural works of people who are native to the land and who feel they kind of represent a strong connection between nature and people. It's also aligned with a way that a child might see the world. So you'll have it in some of his artworks, which we'll go through later, where people are drawn in quite a simplistic way. I wanted to start with this promotional wallpaper he did, which is based on the legendary Pokemon from Generation 3. So you have Kyogre and Groudon here. It is almost like how a child would imagine these two interacting, because in the game, they're very warlike. You know, the world's about to end because Groudon and Kyogre are fighting, and yet here they look like they're having a catch up. You know, they're having a nice chat, and Kyogre's laughing at a joke Groudon's making. And you have the way that colors are reduced, like mountains are reduced to their colors and lines. I can tell they're mountains. I can tell this is rain. I can tell these are trees, but the distinguishing features aren't there. It's just the colors and the shape, which is very aligned with primitivism. Now, going off primitivism, I wanted to start with more of his common artwork. Most people overlook these cards because they're not expensive, they're not rare, but they still required a lot of effort from the illustrators to create. And this Sandile is a perfect example. Now, it reminds me of Aboriginal artwork from Australia. And this is some of the work from the APY lands. And you can see the geometric shape and how much the colors stand out and how things are trying to be pictured through their geometry, and how the ground itself might look. Here in this Sandile, it looks like, you know, Sandile is in the womb of the earth because it buries itself in the sand. And here's the above ground, here's the sky, which almost merges with the sand here, and it's like pyramids, sand dunes, and underneath the surface is even more vibrant than above. And it looks like Sandile was about to be born into the world. So I think this is a great example of primitivism from Komiya. And this is followed by the Golbat from, I think it's Skyridge. Yeah, this is Skyridge. And this is this is exceptional. First of all, it looks like Golbat is somehow shooting the sigil out of its mouth, but then at the same time it looks like it's flying and trying to mimic this like archaeological symbol. It's trying to like channel this history here. Now this is of course based off the Nazca lines as well, which is genius from Komiya, because this is in Peru. They have the Nazca lines, and this is the hummingbird, and Komiya has changed it into Ho-Oh, which is just so clever because Ho-Oh is one of the legendary birds from Gen 2. It's thought the Nazca lines were made in like 500 BC, so that aligns with the kind of artwork Komiya is going with here. Another central element to Komiya's work is his kind of balance between one world and the other. So you have this kind of trippy artwork where you can't take anything as real. It's kind of like dreamlike and nightmare-like, and that's why some of his best work comes with these Pokemon who naturally drift between these worlds. So here you have Hypno, who swings a pendulum, and you can see the pendulum swings from one way to the other. You have it looks like he's deciding your fate at the gates of, you know, the afterlife. It looks like as well this is a signpost, so Hypno has knocked down the signpost with its two arms and placed himself as the guardian of either world, and one world is with the rainbows and the Clefairy, I think it's Clefairy, and unfortunately he's pointing to this kind of hellish river of doom, which is kind of like the river of Styx from Greek mythology, and Clefairy looks shocked, like, oh no, you should have gone this way, but now if we're on a boat we're going to be going down this river. Incredible work just in that little picture, and that also connects to the Pokemon who evolved into Hypno, and that's Drowsy. Now this is from Scarlet and Violet base, my favorite set, as you all know, and here we see examples of the people, the way that Komiya draws people. So at the back you have this kind of stick figure like esque, one person in the darkness, one person in the light, like yin and yang. And as they go closer towards the frame, the framing of the drawing, they become more realistic, but they're still quite childlike, as if a child had drawn it. And it's almost like a river. The ground is kind of melting into water as well. You kind of have ripples there. It's a very dreamlike sequence. And I wonder if this kind of feels like how a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old might view the fairground. You know, everything's so overstimulating with the sounds and the Ferris wheel and the lights and the music, the excitement. I imagine the world would look different colors. And you have this beautiful sky as well, because we have from the poster, we have this kind of more pastel light drawing. And here we have kind of like an impressionist kind of just beautiful scene depicted here. Another great thing about Komiya is he likes to connect his artwork. So the main example which I'm building towards is a trilogy. It's 3 Pokemon that are joined together and the story evolves. So another Pokemon that fits Komiya's style is Ghastly, Haunter, and Gengar. Being ghost Pokemon, they drift between kind of this ghostly realm, like Lavender Town, and the normal world where people fear them as ghosts and ghost stories. So we have this Ghastly who's chilling out in this kind of, I don't know, a barn or something. And you have this strange kind of current that flows into the room. It's hard to work out what it is really. I don't know, it could be the wind, but I kind of get the feeling that Komiya is trying to depict it as some kind of energy from people. And it's calling out to Ghastly, and it's coming from wherever this epicenter is here. And in the next artwork, once Ghastly is evolved into Haunter, it's like he's left that shed and followed the river towards what we find here, which is a city. So we can kind of see here we have the primitivism with the way the kind of the wilderness and the plants are drawn, with the contrasting with the city. And it's almost once again how a child would draw straight line buildings and windows and figures. And we have this kind of these clouds hovering around the tower, but they kind of look like they have a direction where they're going. They kind of look like souls, and you can see how its hands are reaching out towards the city as if that's where it's heading. And these clouds, bear in mind for the next one, yes, these clouds seem to be like souls. Now you have Gengar, the final evolution. You have the colors in the sky again. I think this is what a great way to draw the sky. He looks happy. He looks like he's dancing. It kind of looks like a disco. But you also have these. Now, is this how Gengar sees people? Because it says to steal the life of its target, it slips into the prey's shadow and silently waits for an opportunity. Now, it looks like it's kind of creeping through kind of like a graveyard. Oh my god, I just noticed something as well. Right, I'll come back to this thing right here in a second, because that's really crazy. So it looks like these are kind of like alien heads. Like, come on, that's like a typical alien right there. But this must be how it sees people, or it's just hanging out with its friends who are like ghouls and spirits. But you can see the city, I'm assuming, over here. And what's interesting about it was the windows of all these buildings are the same colors as the souls here. So it's almost like this is Gengar's hunting ground, and all these originate from this city. Now, yes, okay, so I actually brought this Trico card up because it has this red flower here. Okay, there's a history in traditional artwork. For example, the Egyptians would have the lotus flower, which would be blue, and it would be kind of like a hallucinogenic. A psychedelic would change their perception of the world. So we have here this red flower, which kind of seems to come from nowhere in his Trico artwork. Now, that's in here as well. We have this flower here. There's not much. Maybe these are flowers here, but this is the same kind of design of one flower on a stem, right here. And now this brings me into the main artwork, which is Frigibax. And once again, we see that blue flower standing out from all the others. That's the focus for me. So you have the red flower with Trico, this kind of ghostly flower with Gengar, and now this blue beautiful flower with Frigibax. Now, this is a trilogy. You have the Frigibax, the Arctibax, and the Baxcalibur. Now here Komiya has some genius level artwork where he mixes together primitivism with kind of modernism. So in terms of Impressionism, this is the artwork of Paul Cézanne. I think there's quite a lot of similarity between the Frigibax artwork line and this kind of painting here. I think there was one especially. This one I especially liked. I like how there aren't any straight lines really. Everything kind of curls together, and the way the colors blend in, so you get that's why it's called Impressionism. You get the impression of these buildings, of this scenery, but you can't make out any details precisely. And you have that kind of impression here where you have this river, but it looks like nothing we've seen before, and these houses, and they look like tiered houses, but you can't make out anything there. You can kind of make out a doorway here and trees, but the sky merges together, the trees bend. He merges together here Impressionism beautifully with the work, and we also see the continuation of the river as well, because we have the river from Hypno, and then this kind of river from Ghastly that flows through Haunter into the city. Pay attention to the landscape here, because we have this river, we have the cut in the ground, and the tree kind of makes a V shape like it's mirroring this, and you have the upside down cut in the tree hollow. In the next work, where the colors absolutely explode, these colors, and you can see the river again down here, which seems to be overflowing, and you have these incredible pinks and purples, and for some reason the tree itself turns into a gallery where artwork appears inside of it. Now this is very Dali, it's very Munch, which I'll talk about a bit more in a second, and the landscape follows. So we have this V here, now it grows even wider, and my friend pointed out to me this is because of the blade on the back of the Pokemon here, and now it's grown bigger and the gap in the world has grown bigger. So he's kind of cutting through the world both physically and like perceptually as well, because the buildings, you can see the house again, but he's kind of gone past the house now, and the tree from before has also changed color and been cut in half with its breath. It's cut it out. You also have the artwork of Vincent van Gogh as well, which is with this, because now this is similar to Cézanne, but the colors are a bit stronger, and this kind of lone house in the landscape is mirrored here with this lone house, and the Van Gogh reference is relevant because Komiya also worked on the Van Gogh and Pokemon collaboration. So he illustrated this Sunflora with Van Gogh's sunflowers, and also the Smeargle of Van Gogh. So he's very familiar with this style of art, which kind of verifies my claims that he's mixing it with primitivism. And then finally you have the Baxcalibur, the final evolution and the final journey into the kind of psychedelic world that Komiya has created here. The tree has now been absolutely cut in half. Even grown trees are no match for Baxcalibur. And the house has also been destroyed. It's been broken into several different parts. And you have this man up here. Now, it looks like he's imitating the facial position from the Scream painting. Now, this is something else that Komiya has worked on in the past before with the Scream. He illustrated the Psyduck version of it, which the Psyduck is based off this by Edward Munch. As you can see as well, the colours in the sky, the way it merges with the river, and you can't tell where the ocean and the sky cross. It kind of follows that theme from the Baxcalibur, where you have the river here, and now finally the river has overflown. There's a man imitating the Scream artwork, and like I was saying, he's done this in the past. This is Komiya's artwork. And who do we have here as well? We have Haunter and Ghastly, who we have seen before, favourite subjects of Komiya. These are from Paldea Evolved, and I think these illustration rares perfectly commemorate Komiya's art style. It's kind of a culmination of all his work. You have the primitivism from back with the Golbat and the Sandile. You have the storyline connecting together with the Ghastly, Haunter, Gengar. You have the kind of the scream elements, like connections to incredible real art with Impressionism, with Van Gogh and the sunflower, and yeah, it all comes together in these 3 illustration rares. Thank you for watching Pokemon Illustrated, and yeah, let me know down in the comments which is your favorite Komiya artwork, and let me know also which artist you want me to check out next.